Welcome to Valley News Live at 6:30. I'm Justin Betty. We begin tonight with an update on a story we told you about last week. A new car dealership is canceling their plans to build in West Fargo after some community pushback. Just a week ago, that Gateway Hyundai Nissan got the green light from city commissioners. The dealership would have gone up in the Rivers Bend neighborhood behind Costco south of I-94. Valley News team Sydney Zatz joins us now live in studio to explain how this will impact the city and what's next. Sydney.
Justin, the city says the dealership withdrew their conditional use permit on Friday. They were looking to build on privately owned land, and the city had no investment in the project. Now, as far as impacts to the city, there is the loss of potential future tax revenue that played a part in the measure's 3-2 passage earlier this month, despite concern from neighbors and some city leaders.
My concern as a resident of this neighborhood that is shared by several neighbors are bright lights shining into our neighborhood.
I think this is a horrible idea. This is one of the nicest neighborhoods in this city, and to put a car dealership next to this neighborhood is really bad planning.
Now, some city leaders argue the area was designed to bring in big businesses, and the dealership's plan was to build sound barriers and plant trees. The city says they were not giving any reason for the withdrawal, and they're not involved with any business decisions on possible future locations. Justin?
All right, thanks, Sydney. We did reach out to the dealership for answers to those questions, but we haven't heard back yet.